Tim, I want to start with you. Not only has Twitter added Elon Musk to their board, but Parag Agrawal said that they have been talking to him for weeks. Why is that significant?
Well, it's significant because Elon Musk took a stake in this company under the guise, essentially, of being a passive investor, which meant, if you're following that classic definition, that he was merely stopping by and parking his money and was going to watch from the sidelines and not seek great changes or significant changes at the company, not do things like seek a board seat, for example, all of which was up in the air yesterday when this investment was disclosed. And then lo and behold, we find today that he has a board seat and that Twitter's CEO has said that they've been talking together for weeks, which certainly doesn't bear any hallmarks of a passive investor. I don't think anyone thought he would be a passive investor in this. I think he is an activist by nature. But I also think it represents a little bit just another tiny chapter in Elon Musk flouting his, thumbing his nose at convention and at SEC guidelines as he sees fit. He has had a long run-in with the SEC about tweeting inside information or misleading information. And I suspect this will be a little bit more fodder for the SEC to chew on.
Now, Musk has been positioning himself as a free speech defender. Professor Greigel, what do you think that means for President Trump in particular? Where does Musk, or will Musk, fall on this?
This really isn't about free speech. If anything, Twitter has just become a little bit more about Elon's speech. He just bought a large portion of this company and gets to kind of steer what happens there now. If anything, he's figured out that this is a powerful platform. Maybe he took some notes from Mark Zuckerberg and others that you need to have some influence over a platform. So I think, if anything, the future for former President Trump is still TBD, but I've never seen it as a ban. It's a ban for as long as those who are in control of the company want it to be a ban, and we just need to be realistic about that.
Tim, what's your response to that? In your column today, you refer to Elon as a quote-unquote world-class troll.
Because that's how he's used Twitter historically. For as much, he defines himself as a self-described free speech absolutist, and yet he's routinely over the years tried to shut down his critics, silence them. He's used Twitter to savage them, to make fun of them. He's used Twitter as a troll to go after people. He's used Twitter to talk up his own investments in things like cryptocurrencies. And so this whole time that he's, in the recent weeks where he's said that Twitter is throwing blockades in the way of free speech and that maybe he needs to launch a new platform, some of the enticing things he put out there prior to this investment being disclosed really won't run counter to his entire personal experience on Twitter. He has been unfettered on Twitter. But Elon Musk is a libertarian, and I think he has a posture that is part of the far-right zeitgeist right now that the social media platforms have turned against conservatives. When in fact, I think the social media platforms have finally woken up to some of the virtues of policing divisive propaganda, which is, I think, a different thing than free speech in certain cases.
So hang on, Tim. We've actually got some breaking news now. Twitter has just announced via a tweet from its Twitter communications account that the company is working on an edit button internally. This is a feature that they have been testing and working on since last year. Tim? Your reaction?
Well, Elon Musk tweeted last night after his investment was disclosed that he'd really like to see an edit button at Twitter. So I suppose this is Twitter making a big, bold public statement that they're responsive to what Elon Musk wants to see. But of course, they've been working on this for a long time. If they step up their pace on things like better user experiences, better communication tools on Twitter because Elon Musk is there, that's great, and that's good for investors, and it's good for its users. Again, that's apart from what he might do to either curtail or pervert actual free speech on the platform itself.
Professor Greigel, Elon aside, how do you think an edit button would change the nature of Twitter? I mean, this is something that some users have been asking for a long time, but Twitter has always resisted, I believe, in the name of maintaining and protecting the authenticity of the platform?
I don't think this is about typos. I think he's trying to use this as a way to look like he's appealing to the public, that he's some type of like rebel leader, but Elon Musk, the only thing I'm sure of is that he's really good at accumulating wealth. And with that comes power. So, again, there's been some conversation about how Facebook lets you edit things too. And Facebook and Twitter are not the same thing. Last time I checked, journalists around the world have not been embedding Facebook posts in news stories. And I think it just would fundamentally kind of change what the platform is. But maybe that's what Elon wants to do. I don't know why he's taking a stake in this, other than he's figured out that this is somehow going to help him serve his agenda. So, we'll have to wait and see. But it will, I would think, culturally change what Twitter is, and maybe that's for the best. Maybe he wants to burn it down, and maybe that's a good thing at this point. It's just a bunch of CEOs, politicians, state actors, and folks exploiting this, circumventing the press. Maybe it's not that great anymore.
To that point, Tim, in your article just this week, where you suggest that Elon Musk could be bad for free speech, the venture capitalist Mark Andreessen reposted it, didn't seem to agree with your premise. Elon Musk then commented saying that such an article is always good for a laugh. He confused the fact that your article written for Bloomberg was actually republished in the Washington Post. But what do you make of a quote-unquote defender of free speech criticizing your free speech?
Well, they're entitled to do that because I believe in free speech too, so I'm okay with that. I think that Mark Andreessen and Elon Musk are cut from the same cloth. They're Silicon Valley titans who have a view of the world, I think, that is pretty mechanistic and individualistic. There can be virtues to that, but I think when you're talking in the context of why they have an interest about the kind of speech that appears on Twitter, it has nothing actually to do with free speech, and has everything to do, I think, with their own biases being put to the test by the things that appear on Twitter.